Today in Watching Your Wealth, how to manage your credit card debt without damaging your credit score.
This is Watching Your Wealth from the Wall Street Journal. Now, from our studios in New York, here's Veronica Dagger.
This is Veronica Dagger, and you're listening to Watching Your Wealth, where you learn all you need to know about building your wealth and protecting your money. Julie Pukas is head of U.S. Bank Card and Merchant Services at TD Bank. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Great to have you. So, Julie, families of all wealth levels may be struggling with credit card debt. How much does the average household owe in credit card debt?
That's a really good question. Based on some recent data that I saw in creditcards.com, the average household with credit card debt is carrying about $9,600 in debt. I think many people will see a number of different figures out there, and really that's all based on how the numbers are calculated. But when we look at household credit card debt, it's about $9,600.
That can feel pretty oppressive and overwhelming. So I'm wondering, if we have this debt, how can we start working our way through it and paying it off?
Well, the good news is spring is the perfect time for people to set up a strategy to pay down their debt. If we think about it, holiday bills are all in, and for those consumers that get a tax refund, they can look to see how they can use that refund to pay down their debt. So for people with significant amount of debt, I think it's important for people to really be strategic and pragmatic and just be practical in how they work their way through the debt. So a couple of things that people can do. First, it's basic, but gather up all of the credit card bills that you have. Make sure you understand who do you owe money to, and as important, what are the balances, but also what are the interest rates that you're paying to each of the lenders. There's really two common ways that you can approach it. One method is to pay down the accounts that have the highest interest rates while paying lower amounts on balances that have a lower rate. Over time, that's going to save you the most in interest. The second way that people can do it, and really is totally dependent on what's going to motivate you as an individual. Some people may say, I want to feel a sense of accomplishment, so they may take the bills where they have lower balances and then pay those off with higher amounts so they can really feel like they've accomplished a goal. How you do it really is dependent on what's going to work for you. And the most important thing is come up with a plan and stick with it.
Right, come up with a plan, stick with it. Figure out what's going to motivate you, but also know the math that if you tackle those higher interest rates cards first, you're going to end up coming out ahead sooner. You're going to end up paying less in interest costs. So I personally advocate for that. If most people hopefully can follow that method, just because it'll save you money.
That is the financially savvy thing to do.
But it doesn't work for
People
everyone.
are motivated and can
Absolutely. What about closing the cards? I know there's such a temptation to just want to close your card and get rid of it. What do you think of that? And in terms of, talk to us about the impact on our credit score if we do that.
Yeah, so I think you're right. So once you have a sense of accomplishment, you've closed or you've paid off some of your accounts, the first thing you may want to do is actually call and close those accounts. That may seem logical, but it actually could impact your credit score negatively. Because what's going to happen is it's going to lower the utilization ratio, which compares the amount of credit being used to the total credit available, and you want that number as low as possible. Most people in the industry talk about 30% utilization being around the right mark, so that means you want to be using about 30% of the credit lines that you have access to. So for many people, what may be more practical and better for their credit score is actually to take those cards that they've paid off, put them in a safe place, and don't be tempted to use them, but they shouldn't necessarily just close the account.
Close them, right. Leave the line of credit open, but what I've personally done is ripped up the card. I just kind of get rid of the card.
Exactly. Put it away where it's not tempting or cut it up.
Exactly. How can we make sure we don't keep adding to our debt burden? Give us some tips on how we can keep this debt low. or non-existent?
I think the most important thing is to get into some routines that can put you in a better place financially. And I like a lot of the technology that is now available. It certainly wasn't available, even 10 years ago. But think about setting up, for example, just monthly calendar reminders to check your outstanding balance, as well as take a look at where are you spending, right? A lot of us have spending that we kind of lose track on. So if you're looking at your account on a regular basis, you'll be able to better track your spending. And the other thing is you can also look at what are the rewards that you're earning, and that's a good thing to know as well. So make sure that you're optimizing the rewards that your credit card company may have. But the most important thing is only charge what you're able to pay off on time and in full each month. That really is the most important thing we can tell our customers.
Right.
But there's also other technology that's very, very helpful these days. Most banks are offering online statements. Why I like online statements is you can literally go on every day. You don't have to wait for the paper statement to arrive. And it gives you terrific control to see what your current balance is, where are you spending. But there are other things and other alerts that you can also establish. And I like setting alerts that remind me when my when my payment is due. I like to get alerts that, I've spent over a certain dollar amount. All of these things just provide me a better sense of control.
Exactly.
And then finally, and I think really one of the most important things is just simply set up an automatic payment. Because the most important thing, as I've said already, is you want to make sure you're paying your bill on time. So if you're setting up an automatic payment, you know that you're always going to be on time every month. But then you can always make extra payments throughout the month if that makes sense for you that month and with your budget. But set up an automatic payment, and then you don't have to worry about ever missing a payment.
Just make sure that money's in your account for where you're transferring it from, because you don't want to get hit with more fees.
That's exactly it.
How often should we check our credit report? Is this an annual thing we should take advantage of?
Actually, now, the great thing is you can do it more often. I know TD Bank, we offer our customers a Vantage Score online. So really, anytime a customer wants to check their score, they can simply log into their account and see that. And many banks are offering that. But if your bank isn't offering free online credit scores, the nice thing is now every consumer is eligible for 3 credit reports a year. So think about that. You can actually get a credit report every 4 months. And for somebody that's either repairing their credit, that is really a nice way to consistently throughout a year check in to see if the behaviors you're working so hard at are actually paying off with your credit score. And then for those consumers that may be, having some difficulties, they're also able to see, is there an impact to their score? And it also allows you to see, is there any unusual activity? And what we all want to do is check all of our accounts all the time to make sure that, nothing unusual is happening with, our data, because it's so important today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Julie. Would you stick around and take our fun credit card quiz?
Oh, absolutely.
Great. You stick around, too.
For more insights, enable the Wall Street Journal skill on any device with Amazon Alexa. Get all of our podcasts, as well as the latest news and market updates. WSJ Podcasts. Listen ambitiously. This is Watching Your Wealth from the Wall Street Journal. Now, from our studios in New York, here's Veronica Dagger.
We're back with TD Bank's Julie Pukas, who's going to take us on our fun credit card quiz. Ready, Julie?
I'm ready.
All right. What's the best credit card advice you ever heard?
Well, I have to say that came from my parents when I got my first credit card, and it's still applicable today. Pay your bill on time.
Big time.
It's simple, straightforward, and lo and behold, they were right. So I have to say it was the advice that my parents gave me,
Good one.
which I think really for any parent and any person that is either new to credit or has credit, just keep that in mind every month. Pay your bill on time.
So true. Worst credit card advice you ever heard?
I think probably you can never have too many cards. You actually can. So one of the things that we see is most customers or most consumers, they probably have a primary card that they use for their everyday spend. They may have a backup card. You may have one or two cards from, your key favorite retailer that offers rewards. That's probably about it. Maybe you have a card that you did some special financing with, but don't be tempted and open up an account with every retailer where you walk into the store and they offer you a card. Don't get accounts that you really don't need. So just be prudent about the number of credit cards that you have.
Fill in the blank. A credit card can buy.
I am going to say memories, and the reason that is over the weekend I brought a camera with my credit card, and I'm going to take photography lessons because we're going on a once-in-a-lifetime trip at the end of the year. So most recent thing I bought on a card was a camera that'll give me memories.
Fill in the blank. A credit card can't buy.
Happiness.
And if you won $1 million after tax, what would you do with it?
So I'm an animal lover, so I would buy land somewhere and open a no-kill animal shelter with lots of dogs and cats.
Oh, how
That's
nice.
an easy one.
Very fun. Thanks so much for joining us, Julie.
No, thank you for having me.
And do you have a personal finance question you'd like us to answer? Email us at podcasts@dowjones.com. This has been Watching Your Wealth, a production of the Wall Street Journal. I'm Veronica Dagger. For more information, check us out at wsj.com/podcast. Thanks for listening.
Now you can enjoy podcasts from the Wall Street Journal on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and the Google Play Music app. WSJ Podcasts. Listen ambitiously.